Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Episode 20.
And that's it. That's 20, a milestone, isn't it?
20 main episodes. So today's episode is the fourth and final part of academic agony ants. So in these academic agony ants, I think we've answered quite a few questions on like, what advice would you give to PhDs? What makes a good PhD student? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So this question's kind of focused on the alternative in that what exactly is considered the behaviour of a difficult PhD student that like people wouldn't want to work with. It's how people are taught nowadays. So, for example, the way we're taught is you're a hammer, go at the nail. Here's questions, fix the questions. Here's the questions, fix the questions. You're not taught to...
Here's the problem, solve the problem. Here's the problem, solve the problem.
You're not taught to... What's the problem?
Which requires the
Which requires a solution.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Episode 20.
And that's it. That's 20, a milestone, isn't it?
20 main episodes. So one of our goals for this year was just to make 20 episodes.
Indeed. I wrote at the start of the year when we hypothesised the empty space in between and we put all like the work in behind the scenes, doing logos, fucking about with jingles. I wrote on my little goals for the year, just simply record 20 podcasts because I thought if we can get to 20...
Well, you can get to 2 million.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, we can record as many as we like. That's the like just getting because loads of people they say they're doing it. They'll do a podcast or two, and then it's too much hard work. It's too much effort. They don't know what, and then they give. And I thought if we can just get to 20, that's enough.
And that's the thing as well. Like we've learned quite a lot along the way doing it. It probably takes us more effort now than it did when we first started. The stuff we've done, like we've got lights,
effort in other areas.
Yeah, like
at the start, the effort was literally figuring out how to record the podcast.
Yeah, like figuring out how do you get 4 mics to record at the same time.
Literally, me and Ryan, the first time we done a test podcast, we come up here, and one of the first objectives was how do we get 4 about 3 at the time, USB mics actually just running together.
Put it this way, if Sam didn't have a Mac, we'd be finished.
Lad, that was just
because
that's just me being a badass wanting a Mac.
Because what was it? Because you can do it on Windows, but it's all
Audacity we were going to use, right?
And you have to like fiddle. Like you have to use like 3 softwares.
Yeah, Mac's got the inbuilt because it's fucking obviously a lot of people use Macs for music production. There's like that little MIDI controller where you can assign mics to like certain stuff. Probably on Windows you'd have to download some software.
No, so
to do
on
that.
Windows basically you're supposed to use an external thing to pass it all through or something daft, and then you have to pay for software. But Macs, it's all free.
There's a reason why people buy Macs, lads, for certain things.
They're handy.
Especially for. There's a reason why video creators and music makers, creatives buy Macs, lad, is they're designed for creatives.
You know, that was poetic. What is it? Movie makers and creators.
Movie makers. I said music makers and video creators. What a line, lad. I'm using that for something. I'm going to put down a song or something, man.
But yeah, so how have you been, Sam, since last week? So this is another one, 2 on the bounce with just me and you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So... Did we promise a guest or didn't we promise a guest?
Oh yeah, we promised a guest, but unfortunately they had to pull out last minute.
Boo!
But they've agreed to come on later in the year.
Yeah. Boo! So if you want to find out who it was, go back and listen, but we won't say it until they actually come on.
Tough titties.
Go back and find out who we teased.
I don't think we ever said it.
We never said it? Oh, well, you'll never know then until in a few weeks.
We might have said it. The only way you'll ever know is to listen back to all 20 episodes.
And find out what we said.
Give us the watch time. And while you're there, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Follow, like, get involved. We want to hear your voices.
Get involved in the empty space in between, man. The best science research podcast in the world.
Excluding, like, Brian Cox.
No, ours is better.
Is it, yeah?
Infinite Monkey Cage is good. But it's not. You know what? We want to start... Everyone message Brian Cox and ask him to come on this podcast.
So what have you been up to then in the past week? Been up to much?
Trying to grow a beard.
It looks cool. I noticed this before.
Yeah.
What's brought on the change? Because you've always a clean-shaven man. I'm
always a clean-shaven man because I'm worried that like I've got all this hair. And I have got a good head of hair, I like to think. You know, still thick and that, 26.
Still going strong.
Solid airline and that.
Not like receding Ryan over here.
Receding, alliteration. Receding Ryan. But Yeah, and I just thought, you know what? People with beards, fucking badass, man.
You look cool, don't
You
you?
look cool with a beard, and I thought, like, is
I have no chin.
that why you have a beard?
Oh, it's my makeup, mate. If I don't have a beard, lad, I look horrendous. I mean, I don't look much better with one, but it's
horrendous.
It's a certain improvement, I can tell you that for now.
Yeah, I mean, they do define the chin, don't they? Like, they make, like, a man look like a man.
A man.
You know what I mean? Like, you see those fellas in the gym who are, like, in nick and that, and if they don't have a beard, it's, like, nice friendly guy over there doing bench press. And then if he's got a beard, it's like that machine over there doing bench press. Do you know what I mean? The guy without the beard could be well better Nick.
I love how you relate everything in life to just in the gym.
Yeah. In the gym, you learn a lot about life. Want to grow one, but yeah, it's not thick at the moment, but it's early doors.
But you've got to let it grow to let it get thick.
But I'm at that weird, like, it looks like it's going to touch your stage and, like, look like I've got a dirty face.
Yeah.
So, like, when your stage is, like, quite, like, thick, it's a lot, you can see, like, black skin, you know what I mean? And it's, like, nice dark
it's like
beard.
fuzz. It's like the 5 o'clock shadow.
Fuzz, yeah, lads. So, I'll probably give it 3-4 weeks, and if it's not looking like it's going to become a beard, lads,
just jib it.
Clean shaven forever then, lads. Because I never tried to do this.
At least you give it a go.
Give it
a
go.
You need to give everything a try.
And I just want to be a head of hair. Just hair around it. And then the beard can connect to my chest.
Like Chewbacca.
Exactly. Then I can connect to my privates, and then I go down my legs, and then I just need some toe hair, and I'm basically an animal.
Basically.
So what have you been up to?
Just spending money.
Yeah, we are.
Spending
We've
money.
both spent a bit of money yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, so we've got some new content actually coming up for the podcast. Different style. You know what? We're not even going to say what it is, but you'll know it when you see it.
But it cost us dough.
It cost us dough. Also, for those watching, and Sam noticed this as well, I am now not wearing...
Dude, look at me frigging table, man.
I'm not wearing Adidas shoes for the first time in my entire life.
Have you been wearing them every podcast?
These?
Adidas Webs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you rocking then?
I'm wearing the Hockers, they're called, lad. So
Hockers?
basically...
Well, it was Knocker.
No, Hocker, you
Oh,
myth.
Hocker.
I wondered why you've been saying knocker all day. Anyway, so I have shit gym shoes. I've always bought shit ones. I was like, right, and my ankles keep fucking breaking. I was like, right, I'll invest. And everyone said these were class. And honestly, comfiest shoes I've ever worn.
They look lad. They look like they're giving you about 10 inches of height.
Oh yeah, and also I have gone up to 6'7".
Yeah, Ryan's 6 foot for the first time in his life.
But yeah, so best shoes ever. I'd recommend them to anyone.
Best shoes ever. Lads, I rock Nike Air Force, and there's one reason why I rock Nike Air Force.
Because it's the only ones that fit.
Because I can't get any of the webs in a size 13 and a half.
Makes sense.
They do these online at 13 at a reasonable price.
But I tell you, we're giving Hocker a unique business opportunity, aren't we, Sam?
Oh yeah, we are.
So,
get on this, boys.
There's a sponsorship opportunity. So the title, we'll make a series. We'll record it. Obese to over the line.
Obese
with
to over
Ryan
the line.
Belfield. So what we'll do, Hocker, you can sponsor. I'll use your shoes. I'll run it. I'll promote them. The good shoes.
Every day we'll promote it on the podcast
and
on our story.
I'll run a marathon.
Yeah. So you're saying if Hocker if they don't, you're not doing it?
Of course not, no.
So if Hocker, literally, if we contact Hocker, we'll email Hocker and we'll tag them in stuff. People tag them in stuff. And we're going to call it Obese to over the line with Ryan Belf. And you're going to wear Hockers every day in training. Yeah. Run every single day, and then at the end of the training program, run a marathon. Is there a time you want to do in the marathon?
Under 5.
Under 5? I think you can walk and get under 5, brother.
Can you bollocks?
But my auntie's in her 50s in 3.5 hours.
Yeah, but she probably runs. I'm going from...
Obese?
A spud, yeah. The clue's in the fucking title, Sam. I reckon 4.5. 4.5 to 5 hours, I'd be happy with that time.
If lads, seriously... If you 100% did that obese to over the line in Hockers, getting it in there, in Hockers, yeah, and early next year ran a marathon in under 4.5, I will do a podcast in me bills. If you do a fucking marathon in 4, it's got to be in 4.5 or under 4:30 or under.
So my aim is obviously between 4.5 and 5. If I do it in under 4,
if you get under that, if you do 4:29, lads, I will do a podcast in me bills and me webs and sunglasses with a sombrero.
I might have to do it now because this is recorded.
Lads, with armbands on. Like I'm in Mexico having a good time.
Well, I've always wanted to do a marathon, but just like in me thing, I'm like, I wonder what it takes to do one.
Here's a funny, yeah. If you do it in under 4.5 hours, I will get to this pub at 11 o'clock and have 10 pints, get absolutely bollocksed, and then come on here and armband, bills, sombrero, flip-flops, and I'll do the podcast. But you're sober and I'm bladdered.
So we'd have to do it sober, because if you did it bladdered, it'd never go out.
Yeah, that get cancelled. But lads, I'm going to have to do it bladdered because I know why I'm going to get in my bills sober.
That's funny.
If I'm bladdered, I'll go ahead, yeah, get in my bills.
But yeah, Hocker, you know, there's an opportunity there.
There's an opportunity to get Ryan through a marathon. You'll promote your brand, and if you're into this pod, Hocker, you'll get to watch me bollock basically do a pod.
It's a win-win-win-win-win. There is no lose.
There's no losing except for
you got to send me a pair of shoes.
Me and Ryan. We're talking about running. Was it Roger Bannister? First 4-minute mile ever. First sub 4-minute mile ever.
Sounds like something I've heard before.
It was Roger Bannister. Wow. Imagine saying, I am the first human ever to run this fast over this distance. No one who's attempted the mile has done it under 4 minutes.
I'll do it in under 30 seconons, mate.
Well, now there's loads of people. But isn't it interesting the way it takes one to do it, and then it opens the door for everyone else?
What is it? What's his fucking name? The guy who run a sub 2 hour marathon. Chogi.
Kenyan.
Yeah, it's something Chogi in it. Something like that. Oh, what's his name?
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
But like, that's outrageous.
And like that, like the first person to score so many goals this season, or like, but it's with track and field. It's more. What I think. Sorry, this is going off on one. Track and field is the rawest sport there is. It's
just pure performance. If you're not good enough, you don't win.
It's just, but think about it. It's the most primal questions you can ask.
Here's a question.
How fast are you? How high can you jump? How far can you throw that spear? How long can you... It's the first things you test.
Yeah.
It's not complex.
Here's a question. Proper off-piece this. What sport has the biggest gap between amateur and professional? I've always had one answer, and I had one last night, and I think I've changed it.
Don't tell me. You give me yours after me, because you're going to influence me if you do it. You've thought about it. What sport's got the biggest gap between like grassroots amateur level?
So you've got say you've got a really, really, really fucking good amateur. Like all the amateurs go, wow, he's amazing,
and he's still far away.
And that amateur to go pro is not even in the same planet.
Just because of how saturated it is, I'd have to say football. The amount of amazing footballers you meet in the miles away from it.
I'm not talking about how hard it is to. So say just by pure skill level, say you cross the threshold, you're as good as a professional. So I think there's a lot of people who are really, really fucking great footballers who could be professional. Do that type of shit.
But surely in every sport there's always like levels to it, and then you get to the top.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, say you got professional footballers 11 aside.
Yeah.
Could you have a side of 11 like fucking outstanding amateurs and put up a good fight?
No.
You defo could.
No, you will get nowhere. If a gang of amazing amateurs played Liverpool or United, they'd get ran off the park.
If they had the same level of like training put together.
But they're not amateurs anymore then?
No, but what I'm trying to say, like, they're not professional. Like, well, yeah, I suppose.
Training then.
The hardest one, and this is the correct answer.
Okay, Ryan, go ahead, give me it.
Golf.
I don't know enough about it, lad. I think it's a shit sport.
It's fucking, like, there was a professional here. There was a golf course in...
It's not a sport, it's a board game.
It's so hard.
It's a board game.
There was this course, and he was going, if any amateur walked off here shooting less than 120 shots, the par's like 65. He went, I'd clap him off. And the professionals are doing it in under par. It's that much hard. But then I thought about this last night. Do you want to see what actually could be up there?
Go on.
10-pin bowling.
I don't know enough about these sports to know.
No, neither do I, but I thought about it because I was watching someone play Wii bowling. They were trying to get a perfect...
Fuck
right,
off,
they were trying to... This video was...
Ryan's basing this argument on a fucking Wii game.
No, this made me think about it. So the whole video premise was, can I get a perfect 300? Right. Yeah. How fucking hard is it in real life?
To get 10 after 10.
To get 12 strikes in a row.
Wow. No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like that there. Like 250 is considered a really good bowling score, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like if you say you got 250, that's amazing.
Yeah.
300.
No, I love these type of questions. Another question, yeah, there's one.
Ooh.
Me and Jack used to always make
But
these scenarios.
I think my final answer is golf.
My final answer is... Mine might be about 100 metres. There's loads of really fast people. They're not sub 10 runners. And to get anywhere near pro
10.
as a male, you need to be sub 10.
Yeah.
You need to be running 10, 10 dead, 10 1. Once you go back above that, you're back into like semi-pro. You're not getting in any England teams, UK teams, or any international team. You're basically just running at county levels and national levels. Everyone wants to be Usain Bolt, you know what I mean? But what's more nerve-wracking? Are you ready? These, me and Jack think, are the most pressurised moments in sport.
Go on.
Me and my brother. Loads of high-pressure moments, but they come about more fluidly.
Right, go on.
There's not like a stop, do this, under pressure, stop again. So, for example, Hamilton in F1, there might be a really high-pressure moment where he's got to take over someone. But it's built up to that gradually, and it's like, I've got to react now. But he's not got the time to digest it, become nervous in that moment, and then do it. It happens. Would you rather, for nerves, I get nervous picturing these. Would you rather be in a World Cup final?
Last penalty to win.
And it's penalties, and you've got to score to win. And the whistle goes and you walk from the halfway line step by step. Your legs are jelly. You can't put one in front of the other. The butterflies are invading your body. The anxiety's taking over. And they put the ball down and the whistle. Boop! And it's you and a keeper. And if you score, you're an absolute legend. And if you don't, you're finished. Or... the Olympic 100-metre final, the marquee event. You go down in the history books if you win this, and you're standing on the line. It's a dead short event. You've worked your whole life for this, and there's you and 100 metres. And the most nerve-wracking, because I've done this personally, and you're here, quiet, on your marks. Oh, lad, the anxiety invades you. Sit! And then...
the answer to that's the footy.
The penalty, I said the penalty. Me and Jack both agreed the penalty.
Out of those two, it's the footy. Because...
of the weight of the fans.
Because that's outrageous. Footy fans are mental. And in that stadium, after people in there are actively willing you
to win,
to fall over, to break your ankle. No, I'm not even saying that. Half of them actively want you to miss or fall or do something daft, and half are supporting you. But in the 100 metres, like when you're running, everyone's just screaming, "Go on, go on, go on!" And then realistically, like it's great. And at the end of it, it's not the same as the footy. Footy's got to win that one.
No, I know. The only thing though, which are back in like. In a footy game, penalties are different, but individual sports are harder, man.
This is another one I'd add to the list. If you were level on strokes, 18th putt last day, you're 20-foot putt out.
You've got to perform.
And you stood there reading the green.
There's loads.
How do you keep your ass together?
Or like in tennis, one set to
you've got that last serve.
Last save, you've got to win the serve.
I think it's individual performances will always be the top of that list.
And I think those sports like track, like tennis, like golf, like boxing, UFC, where there's something about being on your own.
That's what it is.
It's
when you're
you
there.
And no one else. And if you fuck up, it's you. But in footy.
Someone can have your back.
Something someone used to say to me when I was doing track was, if you perform badly, it's on you. And the thing is, with track or boxing, you get told, if you're not feeling 100%, don't compete. Whereas in footy, if you're not feeling 100%, as long as the other 10 players are feeling 100%, you get away with 90. And players too. He's come back from an injury. He's back on playing.
Yeah, we're going to give him 50 minutes.
He's only about 90%, but he'll get through it because the others are that good. If you're a tennis player playing at 90% at a top level, you're probably not going to win because that makes such a big difference because you're on your own.
So, before we get into actually what we're doing today, couple of housekeeping padmin
Boo! Boring things.
So we started. Well, this is a boring and a bad thing. We've started uploading the videos to Spotify.
Hey! Everyone get on
loads
Alex
better.
Brits.
Yeah. So
This is at the time. I always do
that's
that.
what you always do it.
Sorry.
But because we've started doing that, it means that we can't play the songs at the end on Spotify. So that's
Boo.
boo. So what we're going to do for moving forward is we're still going to ask the guests the questions. We're still going to get the favourite tunes. But what we're going to do is like collate them and put them up on Spotify's playlist. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to split them every 20 episodes. So we're going to put together volume 1. That's going to go up on Spotify whenever we get a chance to actually fucking do it.
I'll sort that.
Yeah. So that'll go up on Spotify. And then what we'll do is then you can listen to them all on there, and then we can put the links in the description. I think that's a better way to do it, because I think the video looks well better on Spotify.
And then at the end of the year, we'll make an annual playlist and we'll bang all the playlists together and you'll have like 100 tracks.
Yeah.
So when it's New Year's Eve, you can party, man.
Party with the ESI crew.
So it'd be every like few months, basically.
Yeah.
A playlist will come out.
Every 20 weeks there or thereabouts.
Which sucks, because we did want to put it by the end of the podcast, but for some reason...
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You can't get out of it. Is
No.
any more housekeeping, Belly?
So that it's more about what we're doing today. So today's episode is the 4th and final part of Academic Agony Ants.
Hey!
So the idea when we first started it is we wanted to do it as a 4-part series initially, just to kind of build engagement with people, and we enjoy doing it as well. So we kind of got to the end of that 4th part now. We're not necessarily saying it's dead forever, but I think with the stuff we've got coming on, so we've got a few big think episodes we want to do. We've got loads of guests lined up. Research news.
We want to take research news into a new realm, don't we?
We want to expand on research news, because we enjoy doing that, and it's fun. It's fun.
And we enjoy doing this as well.
Yeah, but that research news, it's good to see what's out there and a bit better.
We've got plans for that, so
this is going to be parked for a little bit. So this will be the last one.
We are currently doing a Mourinho and parking the bus.
We are parking the bus. We're reversing up.
But as you say, maybe in a few months, maybe towards Christmas, we get it out for a little bit.
And then maybe we have a couple of guests on. We ask them their advice.
Yeah.
So we want to change it up. We don't want it to be such a regular thing, because then it kind of limits as well what we can do in terms of getting people on and stuff. Oh no, we can't have you on.
We've got an agony ants. Yeah.
So
basically, we're so popular with so many guests that we cannot do these agony ants anymore.
That is actually half true.
That is fully true.
Yeah, just keep it to ourselves. Everyone fucking wants to be here, dude.
So, Agony Ants, it's the last one, but in case you've never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, ever listened to Agony Ants, maybe you just listen to our guest podcasts. I don't know what you listen to. Maybe you've never listened to this podcast.
Hi.
Hi. Agony Ants, what do we do? You might have heard of Agony Ants. Basically, we ask for people's queries, issues, problems, questions to do with science, research, academia, or, you know what, just general life. If you've got a problem and you think that our scientific minds could possibly solve it, people send them in, and we also go looking on the internet for funny questions, queries, and through the entitlement that me and Ryan have gained through our academic prowess, we have the right to answer these questions like no other.
And no one can question what we say.
And we're always right with the answer we give. So if you've got a problem, well, it's too late now because it's part 4. But in the future, when we come back, make sure you get on
Or
us.
even if you do, just let us know. We may even just pick them up on random.
Yeah, we'll throw them in.
At the start, yeah. So the way this kind of works is we used to swap it. Sam asked me questions, then I asked Sam questions, blah, blah, blah. So on the 4th and final one, I've collated some questions. I'm going to ask Sam. And for the first time for one of these episodes, we've actually got some
questions
submitted from you, our lovely audience.
Wait.
Big up the listeners.
Big up the listeners. Wicked.
Jungle is massive.
Da-dee-da-dee-dee-da.
That's a fucking rammer, by the way.
You've seen it when they're all in BBC Radio 1,
with JME sketch,
lads,
and it's like the biggest
all
grime thing.
rappers are there, and they're all just going,
yeah, and then General Levy shows up, and it's like, what is happening here? That is an unbelievable video. I watch that at least once a year.
Someone just put in the comments, I remember someone putting, like, this is why British music's the best.
Because everyone just showed up for no other reason but to have just a fucking a freestyle. It was sick. So,
damn.
our first question, and this is going to be our headline question.
Oh damn!
We'll get out of the way now because we think this is quite a good piece of advice, and it was submitted to us on Instagram by a young lad called Mohanesh. I probably pronounced that wrong. I'm terribly sorry.
We hope we've got that right.
We hope we've got that right. So, by the sounds of it, they're in college. They're at A-levels.
Damn.
And they're applying to university. We've been there. We know the score. So his question is, how do you write a personal statement? I'm applying to unis right now. Must the personal statements be top-notch? How good must it be? He's applying for UCAS.
So he's applying for university.
So the question is basically for your personal statements, what do you do? What's some advice? What's some good advice for writing a good personal statement, especially when applying for uni?
All right, well, I think the first thing I'd say for a personal statement is it's not a fucking CV. So don't reiterate your CV. Don't start saying what grades you've got. Again, don't start mentioning the things in your CV.
Because you've already submitted that.
You've sent your CV with your personal statement. So don't start saying you've got an A in maths on your personal statement because you've already said it. Like, are you that bored and that there's nothing else to say? The whole point of a personal statement is give some personality, be original in a personal statement. The CV is quite like uniform, like ... bullet point, little paragraph, blah, blah, blah. It's got to be uniform because it's got to be easily read. Got to be able to go, Ryan Belfield, like, what's he got? Okay, he's got the qualifications. The personal statement is, do you want to know more about, what can you bring to the table? What? This isn't just for university application, this would be for anything. What do you bring to the table? What's unique about you? So I'd say, don't be afraid to put originality into it. Bring your own character across. Mention extracurricular stuff that relates to what you're going to do, and maybe even if they don't, maybe you do something which is extracurricular which shows off a certain skill of yours. Like maybe you paint and you want to show, like, I'm applying to do drama, and I'm actually really creative as well, and I want to, like, maybe be more involved in the creative side of things. Or it could be going for a science course, but you want to show I'm actually super creative. These skills are transferable. You want intelligence, you want creativity, you want solution, people who can problem solve. So yeah, originality. Don't copy your CV. I don't know, is there anything else, Belly? What do you think?
So a big one I like to follow is everyone says it and it gets repetitive, but using like the STAR framework when you give examples. So don't just say, I'm really good at public speaking.
Yeah.
Say, I have good public speaking skills. This was developed there was a presentation I had to give at uni. I'd never spoke at college. I'd never done it before, so I had to design a speech and go over it, and it had to be under 3 minutes, so I had to consolidate everything, and then the result is I give it and I won the presentation. Like, give evidence your points and show the person who's reading it, right, this person says they've got this and they've got like actual evidence of why they've got it, not just because anyone can say they've got anything.
I suppose it's like in the personal statement, tell the story as to why that skill was acquired.
Yes.
So if you were saying, for example, you want to show off your public speaking and your creativity, maybe you've shown your art in a public fucking place, and you said, I give a public speech about my art. This is when I homed in my skills public speaking. I give a 20-minute planned speech. Also, this is when I was showing my art. I'm also really creative. This relates to this course because, and then
that's the thing as well. So say, for example, sticking with the art example, say you are going for science, but like you're creative, you're an artist, and you've put on a exhibition before, right? That shows organisation. It shows planning. It shows all these things.
Amazing.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they'll say if you've done these things, been involved in certain things, it's all about picking the relevant things from what you're interested in and putting them in to you, and putting it into the application to show you off and tailoring it to yourself. Yeah. So the STAR framework, for those who don't know, is situation, task, action, resolution, something like that.
I didn't hear it until you've just said it.
So that's what we were saying before. So what was the situation we were in? Say it was what was the specific task that you had to do?
Yeah.
What actions did you do, and then what was the results of it? So if you kind of follow that, it's the four. That then allows you to get all the kind of main things across.
And I'd say as well,
all in one.
We were talking about this as well. Yeah, don't With a CV, you can look for like a little CV template because it's quite uniform. You want to keep it standardized and like how everyone presents an academic CV or a CV for industry or whatever. But like with the personal statements, don't start nicking little intros and paragraphs from templates and pasting over. Like if someone online, if there's a template for a personal statement, it's got 4 paragraphs. The first one straight about the first, like, follow it roughly if you want to, if you're not a super creative writer and you need something to follow. But if you just start like, copying it and entering your name basically, and you're just going to have a boring,
and you're going to have
watered down personal statement.
You're going to have something generic. And the whole point of a personal statement is it's supposed to be personal. So if
Yeah.
you have a generic statement, it doesn't really give any insight into yourself and defeats kind of the whole purpose of what you're writing the personal statement for.
Yeah, no, I agree, lad. So, yeah, I think be original. Don't be afraid to include extracurricular stuff. Use the STAR system, which is sort of building a little narrative around
Each of the points
that you make. Don't just state them, build a little story. And don't start nicking loads of templates online because they are generic templates. You will end up with a boring generic personal statement. And if you are on the line of like, okay, you're someone with, I don't know, a certain amount of grades and there's another person with the exact same grades, and then they go to the personal statements, yous are getting split up on personal statements. There's one spot left. Yours is dead descriptive. You're showing your passion. You've got loads of personality in your writing. It's like, wow, this person's so like well put together, and then the other person's just basically iterating the CV again or using a generic template, and they're just like, let's give it to the creative person because you've shown yourself in it. You've shown your own personality.
I agree. So we hope that helps. Some good little nuggets in there.
That was good advice.
That was great advice. Moving on to the next question. This is from a guy in your band, the band Honey Motel.
Woo!
Big up
Shout
Honey
out
Motel.
to the motel, man.
New music coming soon.
Back on your screens, back on your live feed soon, man.
As soon as we've got that in, we'll push that. We'll play it.
As soon as Honey Motel back on the live scene, man, we'll be probably mentioning every week. Ryan's actually got a little role in something, but we'll
keep that
on the down low.
So this is Walker from the lead singer.
Shout out Matthew Walker.
I never knew his first name. That's why I just said Walker. I've always known him as Walker.
I just call him Walkstain.
So he asks, what do you do, right, when you're writing a paper and in the you put a quote in, you're like, this is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And then you forget where it was. Like, you forget where you got the reference from.
Forgot where you found it?
Yeah.
Oh, lads. Fucking hell. Fucking worst thing ever is when, you know what, I'm a fucking lazy referencer, lad. I will write something, especially if I know this is defo true what I'm saying here. I'll find a reference, and then if I start going online, like, find a little nugget of gold, rather than save where I got it and go through the effort of pasting the link, even just pasting the link on the document you're writing on, and just putting a little like, this is number 12, and just numbering where it was. You can carry on writing. I'm so lazy, I just nick it, go and carry on, and then it's like a mad, unique, obscure point, and it's somewhere buried on the internet. You can never retrieve it, lads.
On that one, I don't think there is a solution.
There's no solution, man.
I think you've just fucked it, Sam.
You've fucked yourself over. The solution is, when you find it,
just have more forethought, man. Just, even if it's just a spare Word doc, just copy a URL into it and just be like, this.
That's the minimum, because at least even if you've not given it a title, you can just look through the URLs and find it again.
Even to make it even more simpler, create a bookmark folder. Just click the little fucking star. That's all you need.
That's for nerds, lad.
Lad, it's so much better. That's so much easier than copy and paste.
I think if you're one of them person who writes and references as you write, you're a fucking nerd, man.
That's scary. That's scary efficiency.
It's not even. I don't know how you can write and do that, because writing for me is about, I'm in the writing mode, whatever I'm writing, and what I've got in my head's got to get on the paper in the next half an hour because it's here now. If I'm stopping every 20 seconds to fucking do the full reference and whack it in my bibliography, it breaks the mould.
Yeah, but you don't do the full reference. You use a reference manager. It does it for you.
Even that, lad, it breaks the mould. It breaks it. Like that 20, 30, 40 seconds, lad, it starts breaking the site. I've got to... And then at the end, it's a mess. But it's there. And I have to tidy it.
I have to... I do tend to reference as I go in a slight way. I'm not like anal with it. But...
You're half and half.
So basically, like, I'll have a reference and I'll go, right, so this paragraph is going to be written from this reference, and then I can write that paragraph type thing.
I do that as well,
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I just sometimes when I'm on a roll writing, lads, I can't start interrupting myself with referencing. It's just because I'll do a reference and then I'll go, what was I saying?
I forgot what you were going to say.
I was just like, ugh. So I'll just write.
Yeah.
Know that what I'm writing. And I've done a load of reading. And I've got to go and regurgitate it then and find the evidence.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, I have to cut it out.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
It's
Plan better.
You got to be well read to do what I've just done then. No, if you want to write from the start, you got to have read literature to then rewrite it.
Yeah, like I suppose it was alright for you when you were doing your survey because you'd read.
Well,
everything.
exactly, yeah. It's hard if you're writing as you go, because then you have got to go and look for the evidence because you literally don't know what your next line's going to be.
That's what I mean as well. And like for example, I'm writing a paper now, doing the introduction. I've got to find papers to influence the introduction and find what I'm doing and influence like the reasons why we've done it and then consolidate that. So for me, it makes sense to go from the references backwards because I need to find out what they say and then translate that into a paragraph type thing. But this all comes back to the point, you've got to be more prepared. Next question.
Fucking hell, we're flying, yeah.
From another one from Instagram, from the call we put out.
Yeah.
But this one's from an ex-guest. Ooh. So this is from Dr. Anya McDermott.
Yeah, shout out Anya.
Shout out Anya, man. Your episode smashing it, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you go back and check out her episode. It's brilliant. So we cover
forensic science.
Like computer forensics. Yeah. Are your disappearing messages really disappearing? And like loads of other things. And we're going to get her back on in future because she's doing loads of interesting work.
And my girlfriend said that was her favourite pod that we've done.
A lot of people have said that.
So there you go, Anya.
Yeah, so make sure everyone, if you're listening, listen to this one first.
Yeah, do not
listen
turn
to
this one
all
off.
of this and then go back and listen to Anya's one.
Yeah, man.
So her question is, this is more of like a machine learning one. Is there a best website for data sets, for finding open source data
Open source data. Oh, we've had this discussion loads. I like your word you get.
Is there a best website though?
Well, the best website in our experience, this might not be the best, but the one that me and Ryan have used in the past is the machine learning repository. It's got data sets on that are all open source on a lot of different topics like food, culture, nutrition, sport, healthcare. But they're not open source data sets that you're probably going to find anything new on because they've been used.
They've been used to death. Like the reason they're there is, like, for example, the MNIST data set. So for those who aren't in the data science space, the MNIST data set is a
load of numbers.
Is a load of handwritten digits in a 28 by 28 image. Yeah. So 28 pixels by 28 pixels. And it's used as like a reference data set, or it was for many, many years when people were developing like models to run on images, like convolution with neural networks, stuff like that. So people would use that as kind of a validation for what you were doing. So you develop something new and then prove its performance on MNIST. So that's kind of the data sets that are
that's
on
what
that
I was.
website.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you're looking for unique data, it's not your place. But if you're looking to test shit out, basically, if you've got a model you want to run and it takes fucking, I don't know, whatever the data you're looking for, could be image data. Has it got images on there?
I'm sure it's got MNIST. I'm sure MNIST is on.
MNIST is images, isn't it?
I'm sure it's on there, yeah.
So there's got image data, tech, loads of different types of data. If you want basically a certain type of data to test your models, you can go on the website, you can basically click the category of data you want, can't you? And it'll give you like 5 data to be like wine, fucking music, shoulder pain and heart disease, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And you can test it. If you want unique data to do something, the other thing that come to my head was like, there's loads of shit you can do with aggregated census data, which we get every now and then.
The problem with census data is if you don't do it in the first year, it's basically a crock of shite.
Because everyone uses it.
Well, not even that. Just it's not useful. So if you go to it after 3 years, you're using 3-year-old data.
Yeah, but it's more. It might have more power than using something off the repository. Like you might be.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get anything off the. There is nothing like the census, for example. But in its use in machine learning, I think, is limited, as it's very
Was a question for machine learning?
Well, it's just what is the best website for data sets, and you're only going to use data sets for analysis, aren't you?
Yeah, but if, like, for example, I'm building an index, and the core data I'm getting isn't from census, but because you can attach census data with an identifier at certain geographical levels, I can take loads of census data for my analysis. There's only been certain variables that I want, like, I don't know, fucking deprivation level or something. So it might not be, you might not get a lot from censuses, like just using census, but if you've already got a bit of data, maybe there's like a geographical level with your data and identifier, you could start attaching census to your data set, you know what I mean?
The thing is, for this, so the question, best website for data, I don't think that there is one, because it, like, for example, if you want physiological signals, that type of stuff, there's a website called PhysioNet. That's where you can get stuff like the PTB Excel data sets. There's loads of stuff like ECG, loads of different signal health recordings. Then you've got Kaggle. There's loads of stuff on there. But, like, data sets change all the time. So, like, for example, one of the best open source databases you could use, well, relatively open source, was Twitter.
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah.
But you can't do that anymore.
You can't scrape Twitter anymore.
Well, no. Well, you used to be able to open a free API account.
Okay, I wasn't
as a developer. So you could sign up as a developer and then get access to the API. So you could do so many pulls. So it was really, really good for machine learning, because then what you could do is you could scrape. So you could go behind the scenes and get tweets based on a certain thing. So if you were trying to measure sentiment and stuff. But now they've put an astronomical cost on using the API. So now lots and lots of research institutes that were reliant on Twitter data for whatever reason, now can't use it.
Well, lads, there's a guy at my university who done one of his things a couple of years ago, obviously before all these things changed, with like Elon coming in and that, was he looked at sentiment towards artificial intelligence in the general public, and he has a way of like siphon out trolls and like he sets some type of measures, and he's done like an analysis on what does the general public generally view this topic based on thousands of tweets. You know what I mean? So he must have used.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say now. So now that doesn't exist, and that was a really, really good tool.
Free,
essentially. So you could use it for free. Now it doesn't exist. I suppose best is the one best website. I mean, probably for me, no, because it's all situationally dependent. On what your analysis is. So, like, for example, say I'm working with ECGs. And I want an extra validation data set, I'm probably not going to go to the UCR?
The machine learning thing, repository.
I'm probably not going to go there. But for certain things, it's on there.
Yeah.
So I suppose the answer is no, there's not a best, but there are a lot of good places to go.
Yeah, the answer is you're fucked.
Kaggle is great. The machine learning repository, PhysioNet, GitHub, a lot of people put data sets on GitHub.
People drop shit on there.
So I suppose that's it. And as you say, there is stuff like, if you just want the census data, you can go on the Office for National Statistics in the UK. You can get loads on that. Just
like mid-year estimates for loads.
Yeah, you can get like income stuff. So again, it all depends on what you're after. But I don't think there's one best website.
There's no solution.
There's a lot of good websites.
Yeah, get your own data. Sort yourself out.
There's good stuff if you want to pay. Like, for example, the UK Biobank is like, what is unbelievable for medical research in the UK.
How much is that, lad?
Well, I'm not sure the price, but you're not getting in on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff. Another question. This was taken from r/ask academia. Why can't I say that?
Ask Academia.
Yeah.
So you're going to say Ask fucking Jeeves then? Remember Ask Jeeves?
Lad, imagine if I'd gone on Ask Jeeves.
Back in year 6, lad, you'd be in like computer, well, let's go computer science, like fucking ICT, lad, and you'd be on Ask Jeeves going like, what happens when we die? Will Liverpool be shining
Jeeves will know.
Crouch?
Jeeves will know.
Jeeves will know it, lads. He knows everything, this kid.
And then it got fucked over by Google's PageRank.
Google needs a thing like Ask Googie, man.
Ask Google. Well, Google doesn't need it because Google is now a noun.
But I like to ask them.
Searching the internet.
Google
is one company.
I'm going to Google it.
As we said, you're not going to fucking Bing it.
Not going to Bing it, lads, because you're fucking for nerds, Bing, man.
Lad, I use Bing, but I'll still never say, just go and Bing it.
You know what does my head about Bing, lads? Is it gives like news articles and that when you go on it. Or is that Microsoft?
I tell you what, Bing is Microsoft.
Edge, sorry.
Microsoft Edge is Bing. Bing's a search engine.
Yeah, they burn me head out, lads.
The reason I use Bing
Because you're a fucking nerd.
because it's got the ChatGPT thing built into it.
Ah, yeah.
But its search optimization's terrible. So if I'm looking for something very specific, I'll search Chrome because it gives me better results.
Ah, okay.
But if I'm asking for code, or if I'm asking, so instead of typing into Google, how do you do this in pandas, for example, I'll type that into the ChatGPT powered search, and then it'll give me a better answer.
Google's the daddy, man.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Google's the daddy.
Well, they still shat a brick when
Microsoft
when
went for
Microsoft
fucking
Bing,
ChatGPT.
yeah.
Bill Gates buys everything, mate.
I know. So yes, next question from r/ask academia. Got it right the first time. So a bit of spiel before this question. So in these academic agony ants, I think we've answered quite a few questions on like what advice would you give to PhDs, what makes a good PhD student, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this question's kind of focused on the alternative in that what exactly is considered the behaviour of a difficult PhD student that like people wouldn't want to work with.
Same fucking criteria that makes anyone difficult.
I think so, yeah.
Like,
but I think, is there anything specific to a PhD which makes it particularly like you're difficult?
Fucking annoying.
In this scenario, this is very hard to work with.
Yeah, there's actually PhD students who think they're on the same level as professors and that. That burns me head out. You've hit the nail on the face.
PhD
students who walk around like the fucking professors and that, and like think they've got all the knowledge in the world. Like I know I'm fucking stupid, man.
This is very similar to what I thought of straight away. Is people who are like advice adverse, who no, I don't want advice. I don't want criticism. This is what I've said. This is what we're doing. Like for me, I say it all the time. So like with my supervisor, I'll have a shared workspace, and I'll write it whenever you get a chance. Just rip it to pieces, and then guess what? I'll be done months quicker.
Yeah.
Because if I'm typing up, and then after the first page they get to it in the evening or the next day, and they go, no, fix, no, good, fix. I can go, yes, it's not personal. It's just not good.
It's just not good. No.
You've got to learn. Like a PhD's a learning.
People who think they know everything. I've also had stories. I won't say from supervisors, because you get all the stories of like bad supervisors, don't you? Like, you know, people who push too hard or they're unreasonable. They don't let you get your research ideas in. It's all them, and you feel like you're just a product of producing papers for them to move on with it. Them stories. You don't really feel like the research is yours. Yeah,
you're basically just working a job.
They've basically at the end of it, you're thinking these just needed someone to do this, and I was the character. They weren't asked what I was interested in.
Yeah.
But the opposite of that is like I've had stories from PhD students who don't leave the fucking supervisors alone, but are unreasonable with it. Like I've heard a story where this PhD student, was working in the lab or in the office, and her two primary supervisors, or the two main ones, if you like, were on leave at the same time. She had the secondary ones, this person. It was a she. She had the secondary ones, this person. It's 50% of the population. It can't be. So yeah, the two primary supervisors were away, and she only had like one other who had nothing to do with this aspect of the work. And one of the supervisors, who I know, was only away for like 2 days, and said like, you know, we'll be back on Friday or Monday or whatever it was. I'll answer your emails then. And she emailed the supervisor, primary one, who didn't answer, then emailed the other one who didn't answer, because it comes up, I'm away, fuck off, you know what I mean? And then contacted the school PGR team to complain that the supervisors weren't helping her. And said, like, I've emailed them twice, this is really important, and I haven't had an answer. And the supervisor said, I told the person I was away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm away, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking busy, I'm fucking shopping, I'm doing something important, I'm on doctor's appointments, I'm on holiday, whatever, I'm not working.
Everything's a job. Yeah. If I'm on holiday, I am therefore not doing my job.
Yeah.
Because I am entitled to not do my job.
And that's a story I hear, but like, PhD students can be difficult, you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And I always, just be nice to people, man. People are, the best thing you can do in life is be nice to other people. Don't speak to people how you wouldn't want to be spoke to. It doesn't just kill anyone to be kind, man, and be respectful.
And just have common courtesy.
That's it.
That's the thing. Like I think, Like, don't take things for granted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people, like, your PhD supervisors have a minimum responsibility.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll go above and beyond. It's like, it's a nice thing to
But
do.
if you wouldn't like someone
it.
in that case to be pestering you when you were away, don't do it to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because would you complain then if you got 40 emails from your supervisor telling you need to get on your laptop, you need to respond, you need to respond, you need to respond? You'd complain more.
Well, that person who did complain, probably if they were away and the opposite happened to them, they would have went to the PGR team to complain the opposite.
Exactly.
But what makes a bad PhD student? Just the same characteristics that make a bad person, man.
I think we've covered it there, but I think PhD students specifically, don't pretend you know everything, because you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be doing a PhD. You'd already be a professor.
I'll bring the word back in again that we used a few weeks ago. Don't be a busy bastard, man.
Don't be a busy bee,
No
man.
one likes busy people, man. No one likes people who think they know it. Who are always like, I'll do it, and just kiss asses, busy people. Because everyone else hates you.
Like, don't get me wrong, there is a certain amount of ass kissing
you have to do in life
that you've got to do.
But I mean, like,
yeah, I know. Everyone knows what you're on
people.
about. Next question.
Next one.
This was taken from Dissel Lab on Twitter. Basically posted with the hashtag academic Twitter. And it's not so much a question, it's more just a thought they put into the world. But I thought I'd bring it up because I also kind of feel the same sentiment, right? Because we've kind of alluded to it in the past, especially with these agony ants, right? Just reading through Twitter, Reddit and the internet. PhDs and people in academia just love to moan and hate on PhDs in academia. It's all they seem to do. There doesn't seem to be much positivity around the thing.
Yeah.
And like, yes, don't get me wrong, the system is bad in a lot of ways. How it measures success, the hours you've got to work a lot of the time are quite bad. But like, so what this lab was saying here, so it's kind of tiring to read how everyone's constantly saying academia is toxic. Like, yes, it's hard and at times is ridiculous, but like, you have the freedom to do what you want. You get to travel the world, you meet interesting people, so on, so on. Like, to a lot of people, this is the best job in the world. So I wanted to say, Sam, academia, like, what are the good points?
Academium. People love to fucking shit in their own garden, lad.
So let's bring some positivity back. What are the good bits about academia?
You're asking me what are the good bits?
Yeah.
I agree with that. People are moaners, man.
Yeah.
People moan, and I'm not even afraid to say it. Stop moaning. Like, shut up.
Like, you know, like, what I mean? I think this all the time. Like, yeah, I think when I'm pulling long hours and that, I'm like, this is quite bad. Like, some of the work-life balance you get with academia is terrible. But then some
of it's good.
Some of it's amazing.
We're doing a podcast.
In the downtime between certain things, academia is brilliant. Lads, and then certain times you have to do 15-hour days.
That's because people moan when they're up at 2 a.m. doing a 15-hour day and going, look how bad this is. If you're doing it every day,
yeah, that's terrible.
A genuine moan. But they moan at the peak of emotion when they're feeling down, when they've got to get something in. They forget about those days they get off at 11 a.m. and go in for a few hours and then go, you know what, it's Friday. I'm going to go and meet someone in town for a business lunch. And talk about some bollocks in a pub, and then like the day's done, like you forget about them.
And it's one of them, like, we all, and it's, for me, it's one of them things, if people are speaking from this, like, oh yeah, this job's terrible, look how hard we have it. In academia, you don't really have it that hard. I'm so sorry.
What?
Compared to other jobs in the world.
Yeah, lads, I've worked on building sites and that, lad. The hard work, lad. It's easy. It's like,
in terms of the physical labouring, like, I get paid to think.
Not lad. Not forget even the physical. It's easy. If you've half screwed on and you like research, it's fucking easy.
No, academia is not easy, lad.
Compare it to digging a hole, lad. It's easy. No. It's easy. I've done digging a hole. It's fucking it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's physically hard, but academia is not easy.
It's mentally hard. Do you know how hard it is to dig a hole for 8 hours? It drains you.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's hard or whatever, but academia is not easy.
Lad, I think people have got this like self-perpetuating like victim status where they want to tell everyone how hard the life is. It's easy. It's fucking easy, man.
No, I've got to disagree with you there.
I mean, no, I'm not saying there isn't hard points about it. There's wage problems, there's contract problems, there's workload problems. Yeah, but on the whole, it's easier than a lot of jobs, man. There's a load of jobs which I've done. I've worked on a building site for me, It's a fucking nightmare some days.
It's physically
harder. As a labourer, it's a nightmare.
It's physically harder.
It's mentally harder.
But in terms of what you have to do, academia is not easy.
You got to think a bit more, the building site, I felt mentally drained at the end of it.
To take your point to the extreme, Stephen Hawkins, so you'll say everything he did is easy. That's academia. In theory, academia is finding things in the world that
I'm a just and fair person, so like if you have got the brain for it or the skill set for it, it will be it'd obviously be really fucking difficult to be a scientist if you failed or your GCSEs and you're not very good at academia. It would probably be more hard for that person than digging a hole. But just as a whole, all right then, if it's so much fucking easier, and I said to you, you can have the same amount of money to dig a hole, would you do that?
Well, no, because I don't want to do the physical labour.
Okay, if digging a hole, you were this fit as fuck and it didn't make you tired and I still offered you it, would you do it?
But then you've got to get it. But then that's different.
You wouldn't do it because it's not. It's harder. That's why you wouldn't do it.
It's because it's not.
It's harder because it's draining. It's mundane. It gets mentally tough.
I'm not saying it's not hard.
Fuck you, Ryan.
The point I'm making.
What was my question? I'm going back to it.
Academia isn't easy.
No, it's not easy, but it's not as hard as the things. There's harder things, don't it?
But again, it depends.
No, there is.
Because if you're trying to measure those gravitational wave fields, those wave.
Yeah, it's not easy, generally speaking. But if you're in that, you're probably equipped to do it. It's a lot easier for you.
Yeah, but it's
and
not
relatively
easy.
speaking,
because if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, but I suppose by point I'm making, if you build walls every day, it becomes easy. I get what you're saying, but personal experience, it's easy. Are there too many moaners? Yes. Is there problems with academia? Yes. They can live simultaneously. One doesn't have to be right and one doesn't have to be wrong. What are the good bits? Your question was.
Mm-hmm.
I've just went off on one. What are the good bits? Flexibility.
Flexibility is huge.
To be able to, get up and work for 4 hours and then go, you know what, I'm going for a walk, go in the gym, I'm going to go and have a meet up with someone and then maybe do more work later on the day.
Yeah.
To be able to start your work at midnight and finish at 8 a.m, as long as you're doing your work and you attend what you need to attend, no one is really bothered as long as your output is good. So flexibility is a massive key point people forget, as you say. The fact that you're doing something most of the time, there's people who end up in areas of research they don't like or, that's not for me. Most of the time you're doing something you enjoy and something you're trained to do.
Yeah.
So if you went to do psychology and you end up doing psychology research, if you went to do sports science, machine learning, whatever, you're in the field, which is your passion, I suppose, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. If you've got to a PhD... this is where I get it, like, I think you've done it wrong. When you get to a PhD, the idea is you're supposed to be doing research you're passionate about. Yeah. And then we had this discussion ages ago, I think people take PhDs just to do PhDs.
Yeah.
And then they hate the research. Whereas your research you're supposed to enjoy doing because the whole point is you want to become a researcher in that field, you're interested in the research questions. It was something at your master's and undergrad
level, which you liked about the dis and the research aspect. That's why you did it.
So, I think in theory, you should, because you get to pick, but then people will just do one for the sake of doing one and then not enjoy it. And then obviously people, and that doesn't include the people who have terrible experiences, like dickhead supervisors or bad stuff.
There's things which can ruin it.
Yeah, there's things that can. I'm not talking to people who have genuine fucking problems.
I'm trying to think. I suppose there's bad points. Pay sometimes isn't the best.
Pay's terrible. Paying contracts in academia.
But you did say good.
No, yeah. So
we don't want to scream out the bad stuff. Gets screamed about.
The bad stuff, genuinely, that I think, for example, a lot of the work-life balance thing can be fixed. It could be fixed in theory. The thing which I think is the biggest stick point for academia, which I think is a legitimate moan, is the paying the contracts.
Paying the contracts do suck. Yeah.
Oh, the arse. But then you've got a lot of I think you see that though in a lot of businesses. You see this in tech as well. A lot of the people who work, say, for Nvidia, the people who make graphics cards that go on computers to put stuff on your screen. For those who don't know what a GPU is. A lot of the people there aren't necessarily compensated the best, but it's quite similar to academia. They just fucking love
what they're doing.
Doing what they're doing. So it's easy to kind of exploit those people because they're going to do it regardless of where they are.
No, I agree. I agree with the bad points. I'm just trying to think. I think flexibility on the good points is definitely
travel's
one.
A big one. I think the
travel, going to conferences, going to meetings,
and just
around
the interesting people point. I think
you went to Gran Canaria, didn't you?
Yeah, so I went to Gran Canaria, and that links into that because I met some people I still speak to now, like so many interesting people from around the world.
The people you meet.
And a lot of your days aren't the same.
Yeah, they're gonna say the
change up in
your day is good. Yeah, one day you might be writing, one day you might be doing analysis, one day you might be at a conference, one day you might be just in meetings, one day you might be doing dissemination, like doing a blog or posting, or working on getting your profile out. There's loads of things you could be doing.
I think to bring that one round, I think the academia obviously has its negatives. I think people moan loads about it, but no one shouts enough about the good side of academia and what that brings if you're lucky enough to be in it. Because let's face it, there's only a very small amount of the population
which
who are in this role, because it takes a long time to get it, and the journey in university is not for everyone, and people don't like it, whatever reason.
Like I told you, I had a clinician work on one of my projects with me, and he gives some feedback on something, and then just said, but what do I know? I tried to get a PhD for so many years and didn't get one, so good luck with it. And he was basically like, he gave me some criticism on something which I took, but that's an example of someone who really wanted to be involved in academia and could never open the door for himself.
And then there's another point. It's all well and good saying it's shit when you're in it, but then you look at the people, and there's a lot of people you speak to who'd love to do it.
The grass is always greener, isn't it?
Well, everyone thinks it is.
That's what I mean. Everyone thinks the grass is always greener. Like, there's a famous saying, in comparison's the teeth of joy.
I love that.
You ever heard that?
Nah, that's fucking class.
Lads, that's one of my favourite sayings.
That's unbelievable.
I am a saying, man.
That's cool.
Comparison is the teeth of joy, lad.
I love that.
If you are constantly comparing what you look like, the job you've got, the people you with, your friends group aren't good enough, look at their friends group, the money I've got isn't good enough, look how much money they've got. You're constantly going to be looking outwards, when sometimes just to get a bit of joy back in your day, you need to look inwards. Like, I've got this going for me, I'm doing this research, I've got this podcast, I'm doing this, I've got these mates, I've got this girl. Like, you got those things going for you usually. If you constantly compare yourself, you'll be miserable. Like,
for example, when first Sam put the idea to this podcast, I was like dead game for it. And then when we were putting it out, I got dead nervous then, because I was like thinking, what are people going to think? Yeah. I'm not going to share that.
You start comparing yourself to the other podcasts.
People are going to think you're horrible, or people are going to think you're a gimp, or people are going to think your podcast's terrible. But then eventually, when you just go, look, we enjoy doing it.
You've got the first thing.
I've just never looked back. It's been class.
The day you stop enjoying it is the day you should stop.
Yeah, I think that.
And the reason why you might stop enjoying it is because you're constantly comparing. And there's always someone bigger. There's always someone better. Usually, you think you're hard. There's someone harder than you. You think you're fast. There's someone faster than you. You think you're clever. There's someone smarter than you.
And it's one of them as well. And I suppose that's another benefit of academia. Is like, people who don't like the jobs and they hate it, sometimes they can't change the jobs.
Well, that's unfortunate.
With academia, there's a lot of...
You've got doors open for yourself.
If you with the networking and the people, interesting people you meet, there's a lot of doors you can float down and try and change your research if you're not happy with it, which is another benefit which you don't, if you're not afforded to in other businesses. I think I've got one more left.
One more, and go on, serve it on a platter.
Right, so last question.
Yep.
This is quite an interesting one, this, because when I read it, it made me think. So this is from Dr. Raul Pacheco Vega.
You definitely made a mistake on that.
Nah.
Haven't you?
Well, Vega and Checo, kind of those words indicated either Latin or Spanish. So
Spanish.
Raul Pacheco Vega. Spanish, that's why I say it, Spanish. Spanish.
What's Raul said then?
So he's basically said, why is it so hard for students to develop research questions? So
do you mean to get them heard, or to let's see the skills to develop them?
So why can't they craft a well-designed research question? Why is it difficult for students nowadays? Because I find this difficult to sit down and go, in this area we're missing this, right? How do we craft a really good question that we can then build a project on and build a research, try and get funding and blah blah blah? Like, I'd struggle to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a reason potentially why students nowadays maybe find that a lot more difficult?
I do.
Go on.
It's harsh though, and like you said, you're bad at it. I don't want to say it because I don't think this is true about you.
About me?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, there's two things. The first thing is, well, the very reason why they can't do it is because they're not full developed scientists yet.
Mm.
That's the first reason. The same reason why Lionel Messi never scored 60 goals when he was 18 is because he wasn't Lionel Messi at 23.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, over time, you develop the skills to do that. But the second thing is, one of the reasons why a lot of PhD students can't design research questions, I'm not saying I can. Out of the projects I've done, I've designed 2.5, and the other 1.5 has sort of been more. They've all been joint, obviously. You don't do anything on your own. But like, I come up with me review, I come up with me clustering work. Even though like they knew I wanted to do clustering, I sort of design up the questions. The other ones in the middle, the Delphi and the index, was more given to me, which you've got to do as a PhD. If its supervisors want to do stuff as well, you've got to do what they want to do. But the reason why the volume of PhD students doesn't correlate with the volume of good research questions is because creativity is not spread equally in people.
Actually, I don't think it's to do with creativity.
Of course it is.
I think it's how people are taught nowadays. So, for example, the way we're taught is you're a hammer, go at the nail. Here's questions, fix the questions. Here's the questions, fix the questions. So that's masters and undergrad a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You're not taught to...
Here's the problem, solve the problem. Here's the problem, solve the problem.
You're not taught to... What's the problem?
Which requires
requires a solution.
Yeah.
But finding a problem is not so much creative.
I don't mean creative in the sense of designing a piece of artwork. I mean, if you look at research and there's obvious gaps, if you're not creative, you can go, there's a gap. But if you're not creative, you don't know what the question is to ask. You can't create the question. You don't know the question you're meant to be asking.
But asking a question can be quite systematic, not creative.
It can be. You can get to it systematically. But like, for example, certain research has been done on this population, and certain's been done on this population. A creative scientist will go, oh my God, there's a gap here, no one's thought of it. It might just be luck because you've stumbled across it, but an uncreative mind would get to it and go, don't see what else I could do there. Wouldn't develop it further. I think you are right. I agree with you. The nature of the education system is very much is the nail, hammer, is the nail, is your hammer, is the nail, is the hammer. And I think whether it's creativity or whatever you want to call it, we could build on that. Like, I think it is creativity, the creative ability to design a research question. But I also think it's just not spread evenly. Some people are really good at one thing and can turn the screw like fuck at that thing, man. It might be physics, it might be. But if you ask them to, now you can, if there's certain people you can go to, like, here's the problem, here's the place where we need to get to. Do you do the work to get to it? And they're like, wow, I can do that because I know where the start and end is. That's very different from saying, I don't know where the start, I don't know where the end is. You find where they are. I think that's when the creative mind comes in, because like, well, I'll have to creatively get to a start and end.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's spread equally, and I don't think the education system helps develop them skills which could be there in certain people which are never brought out.
Because it's one of them. If you're never shown how to put one together, you're never going to know how to do it.
That's what I was saying about
That's
before.
what I mean. Like, for example, like, yeah, so I suppose that, like, I was thinking of it more differently in terms of actually creating a project.
Yeah.
Which...
Creativity.
Well, no, but like, put together a
deviation
project.
of the word, brother.
But like, so, like, for example, our projects were put together by someone else.
Yeah.
But like my...
Well, the projects in mine weren't. The title was there.
Yeah, but the things you're doing is to solve your project.
Yeah, but the project, there wasn't a clear problem. It was, this area is understudied, we need work in it.
Yeah.
And I designed some of the projects. I created the review. That wasn't a question put to me.
Yeah.
I was told you need to do a review, create a research question.
Yeah, but then that's my point. You were told you needed to do a review.
Yeah, but that's
so that's what I'm trying to say is, like, so the students there, so you were shown, right, so when you get a project to properly do this research question, now you start with a review.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, what I think the crux of what we're saying there is, like I've put stuff together, like, with the review I did, I figured out what I wanted to get, got all the stuff with the analysis, like, to the ECG comparison work I've done. That was work so like, after doing the analysis, I figured out there was nothing there. And that came from that. But it's knowing...
Got nothing left.
Only from working with Ivan and Sandra would I know that was how to think. But I got that from PhD level, from working with them, whereas I think that should be emphasised earlier.
Well, it depends the question you're asking now, because, yeah, you were told to do a review. I was told to do a review. I wasn't told what to do a review on. So if you've never written a song before, for example, because I know I do work in that world, so it's easy for me to refer to it. Someone says a song has a chorus, a verse, a post-chorus, an outro, for example. They've told you what is in it. A PhD is a review of the literature, followed by some projects. So you know what's in it, but the creativity is writing the verse, writing that chorus. No one's told you what it's about. No one's told you what your song's about. So giving them the end point in the song would be, a song has these elements. The outcome is a love song. And the start of it is, we want this character. That's someone creating it for you, and you're filling that creativity for them. The equivalent would be, a review needs doing on this, and we want to find out about this. Go and do it. Now, the creative aspect, I'm not sure if this is what the person meant, but a student, in my eyes, being creative is thinking, what's missing? If you're told to do a review, no one's creating it for you. You're just told, do a review. It's part of your thing. Or write a song. You need a chorus and a verse. But like, the creative aspect is, okay, where's the gaps in the evidence? And as you say, I don't think that I mean, we're not all created equally. Some people are more intelligent. Some people are more creative. Some people are both. Some people are tall, whatever. But you can be, I think there is training to be done at an early level. Maybe if there's projects in undergrad level where it's just like, we're all doing a review and the best research question in this area gets a reward.
To be fair though, I think it needs to go before uni.
Or like back at school, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I think there needs to be more push to make people think for themselves instead of just... Is the questions. But then this is just like the systematic overhaul of the teaching thing. But yeah, I think more exposure to being able to find where a gap is and solve it is what's needed. Yeah, because my initial thought when I thought about this was actually putting like a research proposal together. Yeah. That's ridiculous. But then obviously that's not a research question. It's a research proposal.
That's what I mean. It depends what they're asking.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, yeah.
No one put... Is he just looking like, I never get students who propose questions that need answering? It depends what he's asking.
No, I interpret
a proposal is more systematic.
That's what I had that as a proposal, but yeah, a research question.
If they're just looking for questions, it's down to creativity, and it's down to... And I think people can be improved, but as you say, it needs to be pushed back into, it needs to be pushed down the education system, you know what I mean? Through uni, through A-level, through school, where there's more onus on the student. There's still going to have to be work what's given to them. Yeah. To turn some
of course, you've got to turn handles.
But there might be elements where it's like, okay, you've learned now how to, fuck knows, I don't know, any topic ever, to do that. Now, creatively think of an application in the real world, and you hypothetically design it. How you'd use that, and that's being creative. That's not a research question, but maybe that be in year 9. Like, where would you use that? And like, you're starting to think, how maybe they do that. I never got taught like that.
Oh, neither did I. It was all just turning the handles.
Yeah, like this. So you do that. Here's a question on it, and there'd be no application. And you'd be like, okay, that's how differentiation works. And you just knew that goes there, and answer. Yeah. Is that answer right, sir? Yeah. Okay, good. Move on. But I think
it is.
I've said to you as well. Oh, sorry, I'm rambling today. That's the difference as well. But I think between a scientist and a title of someone, like if you saw yourself just like a fucking physician, you're just turning handles for in that role, or like you call yourself a machine learner, I think you'd see yourself more as a scientist in machine learning if you were developing ideas and new models, whereas you're more of a machine learner if you're just turning the handles of those models. But one's more creative, one's more turn.
Do you want to see what it is as well? Being inquisitive.
Yeah.
If you ask a question and no one's got the answer, there's probably a research question in there.
Exactly, lads. And that's, when I said before, I don't want to say it's creativity, is I think you're really creative, but you constantly tell yourself you're not creative. But that, I don't know what, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're always saying, I'm not very creative, and I think, like, you are. You've just literally come up with an idea in the podcast to do this bit of content or whatever. That's creativity. That's your brain going, I'll do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a new idea.
Yeah. I think it's the way I think. I always think systematically.
That's fine. But there's room for creativity.
That's what I mean. But it always...
And without creativity in science, you wouldn't get the questions.
No, yeah.
You just wouldn't get them. If everyone was dead systematic, they'd just get to the gaps systematically, and then they'd ask the most boring question where it takes someone to go, oh my God, we're not looking at this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and the gaps are leading here, but you're trying to get to that gap and ask this question. What about? And then it's like, oh my God, yeah, no one's doing that. No one's asked that. And it's like, wow, that person's impressive. Do you know what I mean? They might not know how to solve it, but they come up with it. You know what I mean?
And then you find the people to help you solve it.
And you're like, I need a data scientist, I need a physician, I need a fucking whatever.
XYZ,
Bob's your
XYZ,
uncle.
XYZ.
Here's the answer.
Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt.
Rude. You
never heard that before?
What's a name? Fanny, just because you said Fanny.
That's been a bit one round the houses. We've gone around the houses, round the bushes and back again. But I think it's been quite insightful. There's been some good tidbits there. So good advice writing your personal statement. What to do if you forget a reference. Is there a best website?
For data
sets. And a few others. Discussion points on top of that. So I've been Ryan.
I've been Samson
Meredith.
Yes.
I always used to spell your name wrong, remember? You always shout at me.
Meridith.
I'd still probably spell it wrong now.
Meredith.
If you like us, if you like what you're watching, make sure to subscribe, YouTube, follow, Spotify, leave us ratings, likes, comments. You know what I mean? Let us know. Even if you didn't like it, there's a dislike button, and there's also a comment section, but we don't like you.
Comment, please comment. I love reading comments.
Yeah, the hateful ones are funny, man.
Yeah, we got one the other day, didn't we? Dissing us.
What did he just called? What is it? A shit pod or something? Lad, they're just funny.
Like someone had said something about Tyler, and because he was like, "If you think you've made it, you be a JP Morgan right now." Not on this
like,
shit podcast. Hell, man.
Some people need to chill out.
Some people are fucking upset with their lives, man.
Oh, big time.
And they feel the need to project outwards because
keep projecting at us because it gives us views.
Yeah, we like it.
So that's been it from us, from Agony Aunt Part 4.
Next guest is the man.
Next guest
is my ex-supervisor.
Oh, I thought you said the man.
No, the man.
Oh, the man. the man, the myth, the German legend.
A German's coming in.
Our first guest from farther afield.
Is he? No, we had Al on.
That was a lie. That's our second guest from further afield.
Al Brits from South Africa, and he was saying we've had no one on.
Can't get much further than that. No, the difference is Al's accent's quite Scouse.
He's been here for ages,
So you keep forgetting, but Evo is still very German. So he's going to be on next week. Evo, lecturer at the LJMU Maths Department.
My ex-supervisor at undergrad, master's level, did projects with him on red squirrel conservation.
Yeah,
and what else did I do? Some other stuff.
So we'll get the lowdown between what he did between Germany and ending up working in the UK.
Yeah. What
research he's on. So we'll get the scoops on that.
Amazing.
So that's been it from us. Tune in, Evo. Got loads of stuff coming on, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out, people.